Hey everyone, so today I want to talk about how we can make it easier to be more forgiving and more understanding even when we don't feel like it. You know, that little feeling in the back of your mind where maybe somebody has done you wrong or you've gone through something that doesn't quite align with who you know you are, and how we can refrain from actually creating more hatred and being more hateful and actually kind of detaching with love. And I know it sounds impossible. I rolled my eyes at this when I heard about it, and I was like, how in the world am I supposed to detach from something and someone that I love, or even multiple people? How can I do that? They've done me wrong, or they are believing a lie, or they've been played against me, or maybe they're consumed with really unhealthy habits. Maybe they cheated on me, whatever it is, right? And we all go through this. And thinking of life like a video game for me is what has helped. And I know I've talked about this in other videos, but today I'm going to dive deeper into it because it recently has helped me detach from people that I never thought I would detach from. And the other thing about this is it doesn't even mean that it has to be forever. And that's what's kind of cool about this. It can be if you want, but this is a good way, whether it's forever or temporary, to detach from people and situations that are hurting you or you don't understand. So we're all playing at different levels of the video game. If you think of life like a video game, right? And I never was too into video games. As a kid, I did play Super Mario Brothers, which I absolutely loved. And I bought a used version of the original Nintendo that I have in the other room so that I can relive a little bit of my childhood. But again, these are things that are really important for you to kind of put in your mind and use as tools. I know it sounds silly, but if you think of life as a video game, it works. And sometimes the only thing that gets me through not holding grudges, which I've never actually been good at holding grudges, I've always been far too forgiving, but that's what kind of meets this in the middle, right? This idea of understanding that we're all playing at different levels of the video game, it will help you understand the other people around you, including yourself. So some of us are still learning lessons at a level 2. And I want to be very clear. This is not to be condescending or mean to anybody because we all go through this in life. So some of us might be playing at a level 2 while others might be navigating a level 15 heartbreak or a level 9 spiritual awakening. And none of this happens on a timeline that makes sense to anyone else. So even when we really want somebody to see things the way we see them, right? You could even show them the proof of something and go, hey, and wave it in their face and say, here, look, see? And they may still be like, we even may want someone to grow with us, with or without the proof. But the truth is, they just might not be ready. Or maybe they're not meant to learn the same lessons in the same way. And yeah, sometimes that means people older than us. We see this a lot in especially older people who think they know what's best. And I am not arguing that older people are wise, but you have to keep upgrading and updating yourself to truly be wise. From my perspective, in my opinion, I'm not claiming to have it all figured out. But what I do have figured out is understanding that we all learn at different paces according to our experiences and the people that we've been surrounded with. Some people younger than us have lessons learned that we took nearly our whole lives to learn. They could be miles ahead in a certain emotional lesson. They may be miles ahead and have certain emotional wisdom. Have you ever noticed that sometimes even younger people, younger than us, seem wiser? We have no clue. We've never walked in their shoes. Have you ever noticed some older people are not as wise and they're more stubborn and stuck in their ways? That's because they're holding on to an old operating system that they didn't learn a certain lesson, or they haven't been forced to learn a certain lesson in life yet. And we have to have that understanding for us to get through a true healing process, something that's rewarding, something that's pure, and something that's kind and true to ourselves first, above anything. Because if we're not kind to ourselves and we're not aware of these things ourselves first, we're going to be completely lost in navigating this around other people. So for me, learning this has helped me detach from the chaos, and with love, not in a way that's like, I don't care. And I'm not claiming to have done all this perfectly either. Okay. healing from abuse and healing from narcissistic abuse specifically is really a mind mess. And you really can't explain this to other people. And other people are going to look at you like you have 13 heads, or they might even say, wow, she's really lost it, you know? And I think that that is valid because a lot of times people don't understand. There's no way for them to put their shoes in the same position as yours, put them on. Imagine wearing someone else's shoes. Have you ever put on someone's shoes that maybe it was the same size as you, but when you put the shoes on and they're already worn in, it already has that person's way of walking, the way that their foot has impacted that shoe and made a literal imprint. You can't put yourself in someone else's shoes and truly understand. All you can do is understand your own story and then have a little bit of compassion. The fact that we all learn at different levels, at different times. Truffles is playing with the birds. And you have to trust your path even when you don't understand it. And this has been something that's been pretty difficult for me in moments where, I'm a human and I've just sort of had moments where I'm like, what did I do? What did I do that was so bad to deserve this? And if I then stop myself and go, Kristen, this is the video game. Maybe I didn't do anything wrong. Maybe I just needed to learn a few lessons. And maybe to truly learn these lessons, a lot of these people had to exit my life so that I couldn't lean on them for advice. Because if I'm being honest, when I would lean on people for advice in my past, I'm not blaming them, but it always spun me back into circles. And that's because I wasn't using my own guidance system. I hadn't built. Oh dear. I hope that was a firework. It's okay, Truffles. I don't know. Speaking of video games, yikes. So, whether it's friends, family, breakups, or deep disagreements, letting go of the control and embracing the idea that we all have our own game to play. It's powerful medicine. So, if you're in a place where you feel like you're watching people that you love make choices that really hurt you, or even just simply confuse you, I just want to be here to remind you it is not your job to play at their level and completely understand them. I have always had a hard time with this, and I would have rumination, which means the thoughts go over and over and over again, because I always just want everything to be okay. I always think that I could fix the situation or people. And that's where I went terribly wrong. I'm not claiming to be perfect, but I had this imperfection of trying to fix people, trying to make things better. And it is a trap. It is a disastrous situation to be in, especially if you just keep doing it over and over again. And what has helped me from not making those same mistakes again and not continuously having the rumination of just these thoughts as if I'm going to figure something out by thinking about it over and over again, learning to let that go using the video game idea saved my mental health in such a big way. So even if it's not to other people, even if it's just to yourself, no matter what, you can offer grace. You can protect your peace. You can love people from a distance while still growing and healing at your own pace. And for me, I would feel guilty doing this before. And now I don't feel guilty doing it because I see how much better I feel when I stay true to what's true to me. It might be silent sometimes, it might be lonely sometimes, but the growth and the self-love and healing and care that has blossomed and is continuing to blossom from this is something that I can't help but share. Sharing this has upset some people, and I've learned that that's because whatever level of the video game they're playing on and they're at isn't in alignment with where I'm at. I am not here to make fun of, be mean, or condescend anyone. These are true life experiences, and I heard over and over again from people, wow, I can't believe somebody like you got caught in a situation like that. People will stop me in the grocery store. People will stop me on the street. People will speak to me at my shows. People come up to me in the most random places and they thank me because they don't feel as alone because I've shared my story and they've gone through something similar. That's why I'm here and that's why I'm doing this. It also helps me stay on track. So if there's people out there that find it offensive, what do? It's not that I don't care. Of course I care. But I have to accept that they're at a different level of the video game and there's no way for them to understand this. So this hit me the hardest in relationships because when I thought that we were growing together and then realized we weren't even playing the same game. And talk about how frustrating it is when loved ones don't get it either. Whether it be friends, exes, family, it doesn't really matter. It feels personal when they don't get it. But you have to let them, because most of the time, it's just about where they're at in life, in their journey. You cannot replicate someone else's journey. You just can't. And they can't replicate yours. It's just like fingerprints. So, this is something to remember when people are trying to tell you how to feel, what to do, and you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that just doesn't sit right with me. There's a reason why. I had to learn to detach with love. And I know that a lot of times these messages were coming from people from a good place, but they were controlling. That's the place it was coming from. They didn't even realize that. And who knows? Maybe that's because of their journey and their unhealed trauma, and it made them feel better to boss somebody else. Maybe they were trying to prevent you from getting into trouble, or whatever the case may be. But you have to remember that if they don't get it and something doesn't feel right in all these conversations, you have to let them and let it go. It's not cold, it's not cruel, it's just acceptance. And you can love someone and still choose to not follow them down a path that hurts. And you can have forgiveness and peace and stay in your own lane. And a lot of times people don't know how to do that. But the idea of the video game helps kind of come and fill those gaps in. So if you're hurting right now because someone you love isn't treating you right, or you're watching them self destruct and destroy everything you ever built, whether it be because of alcohol, narcissism, memory loss, trauma, misunderstandings, lies, these all are stuck with toxic patterns, and you'll begin to see them. And it's because they keep, or we keep, playing the same level of the video game because we haven't learned that lesson yet. This isn't your failure, and it's not your job to play at their level. And if you're even asking yourself, why do I keep repeating these patterns? I had to ask myself this same thing, because, when people say, well, you attract what you are, it's like, huh? I'm not any of this. That was my first reaction. But what I was someone who tried to fix broken people. What I was someone who gave way too many chances, and I would get me off balance and off kilter with my guidance system, which is the root of my values and my core beliefs for myself and what I want in my life. So even though I had good intentions, it was causing these really bad cycles. So you're allowed to grow, and you don't have to drag all of this with you. You can sort through it. It's kind of like when you clean the house, you got to sort through the stuff. Think of it as something you do in a video game. There's little gems and good things that you can have along the way, and you learn that level better and better, so that once you reach the next level, that you don't have to repeat the last one you were on. You might have to repeat the next one a few times before you get that too. Same with all the people you're dealing with, and who knows where they're at. I wish someone had told me this stuff earlier, but there's a huge chance I wouldn't have listened. Because why? Because I was at a level of the video game that I couldn't hear this yet. I couldn't hear it yet. And it's terribly heartbreaking when people that you love turn out to be someone different. There is a very big difference, though, between, let's say, a narcissist who, from my perspective, in my opinion, is not someone who's ever going to learn any lessons. In my opinion, in my experience, I think that they're entities that are here to teach us lessons. I don't believe that they evolve. I don't. And that is a belief based on my experience and where I'm at in the video game. So if you disagree, maybe we've had similar experiences or not. If you agree, maybe we've had similar experiences or not. Who knows? Okay, we could try to dissect this all day long, but that's how I feel. And that's my truth based on what I've gone through and what I know. There is such thing as self-aware narcissists, and that's great, but it doesn't mean that you're fit to live your life with one. That's just my opinion. So like I said, someone could have warned me, and I may or may not have listened, because maybe I wasn't ready at the level of the video game that I was at to hear it. I had to learn it myself. But if you are like me and you're feeling the things that I'm saying, you're not alone. And so even if you feel alone, you're not. And so many people, like I said, come up to me and talk to me truthfully more about these videos than my music, which, as long as I'm being a messenger to enjoy and help my own journey continue to grow, but also help others feel less ignored and help others feel seen and help others grow, then I'm doing my job and what I was born to do, whether it's music or these talking videos. So thank you for that. Just keep playing your level of the video game. And when you're dabbling in areas that you probably shouldn't, feel that until you've learned your lesson. That's the best advice that I know to give, because again, we can keep repeating these patterns, but we really don't learn until we truly learn. And nobody's going to teach you a bigger lesson than a narcissist. They can have their flying monkeys, their smear campaigns, they can try to recruit as many people as possible, but truth prevails. And the people who want to agree with and hang with them in their truth, then apparently that's the level they're playing on. And guess what? I was tricked and fooled by a narcissist, so I cannot hate or condemn those who have been tricked as well, even if it was all a scheme and a plan to play against me. Guess what? My job is to keep living my life and doing what I'm doing and becoming a better person every day. And if that makes certain people uncomfortable, then that means I've moved on to a different level of the video game. And they may not like that, but it is what it is. Does it hurt? Sure, of course it does. There has to be a stage of mourning the people that you've lost, but it's okay because you're making room on the new level of a new video game that you're playing. Okay? Maybe you're playing an entirely different game now. Who knows? It's your life, your journey. You're making room for new people. You're making room for a healthier version of what you thought you had. You're making room for this new level of lessons and fun and great times ahead. I promise. No, it's not easy, but I promise that's what's happening. I hope that helps you today. Continue healing, and I'll see you soon.